What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Skinny Penis, coming to you with the Gaming Corner podcast. Episode 2, I do believe. Yeah, the first one was the beta episode. So episode 2, AR versus VR. So, yeah, that's what this podcast is going to be about. So let me dive right into it. I want to celebrate Microsoft's annual gaming revenue as it passes $10 billion, which is mind-boggling. I wish I could make $10 billion. That would be fucking awesome. Like, $10 billion? I don't even know what to do with $10 billion. But anyway, so Grand Theft Auto 5 just came out with a new update? DLC, maybe? Update? I know they have free updates. But anyway, it's After Hours. Basically, the return of Gay Tony in the club scene from GTA 4. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I don't really, I don't play too much online for GTA, so, I mean, I'm not really going to touch it, but I like the Gay Tony DLC from GTA 4, and it's nice that they're bringing in other characters, especially, what's-his-face from the Lost and Damned DLC, so that was pretty cool, too. But anyway, so this episode's going to have a lot of GTA stuff and a lot of just random shit because that's how I operate apparently. So I also was thinking with the release of an update, and GTA 5's been out for 4 or 5 years roughly. We haven't seen a story DLC. And I was thinking while I was watching the trailer, what would a GTA 5 story DLC look like? And I kind of was sitting there, I was throwing around the idea. And I was thinking it could take place before the events of the opening of the game, when they're robbing the bank for the first time, when you're learning the controls. And I would like to say that it's like Trevor and Michael learning how to become criminals, basically. How they became very big in the crime game and robbing banks and kind of that. Like, you see the younger origin story of the characters, because you kind of just get thrown into it. In the beginning of GTA 5, you're like, oh, you're all middle-aged already, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I would like to see a DLC like that. Will Rockstar give us one? Probably not. Especially with Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out in a couple months. I highly doubt it. Maybe we will, to just kind of balance, like, oh, hey, we got Red Dead and GTA 5, so both games are still going good. So we could see that. And then also, while I was looking up notes for this episode, I found a interesting mod that modders made for San Andreas, which, I know San Andreas, it's like, 14 years old, easily. It's basically what the modders have done is they put all of Rockstar's games, which is essentially Bully, Manhunt, all the Grand Theft Autos, and that's basically it. They didn't put Red Dead in there, and LA Noire for obvious reasons. I mean, they take place further back in time, so you can't really, but I would love to see an updated version of, God, I can't remember the continent that Red Dead takes place on, but a Red Dead map, an updated version of it, and an updated version of, LA Noire's map too. I can't think of the name of the city. But anyway, I'd love to see that. It would just be amazing to watch, like, see where the worlds have evolved from, or evolved to, from where we've known them from. But they also added, like, different maps, which include Atlantis, which is their Atlanta, and then they also have a Chicago? Yeah, a Chicago remake of it. So they're also adding new maps that are custom made from their minds to the world that they're creating, which has been in production. I guess, yeah, production would be a good way. Production for 4 years. And it was started by a 14-year-old, believe it or not. So kudos to you. Can't pronounce your name because it's all kinds of letters thrown together. But it has, they updated the graphics. They're adding new AI maps, vehicles. Different games can now support things like Bully couldn't support getting in vehicles and explosions and airplanes and stuff like that. They're adding that to the map, and they're making it like flow, and they're basically rewriting a couple games to support their idea, which is a wonderful thing. I applaud them who are doing it. But it's a work in progress. I watched a couple videos on it. I did spend about 2 hours watching videos on it, but it looks really good. I need to get into gaming on the PC way more. It's something I've been meaning to do, and I just neglect it because, excuse me, gaming PCs are fucking expensive. I was just looking into a laptop yesterday, $1,700. I was like, holy shit. But I mean, one of these days I'll eventually save up and get into the gaming on the PC. But right now I'm content with console, and we got Project Scorpion coming out in a couple years. PS5 is going to be coming out. Nintendo has a console out every year and a half or so. Get a new 3DS every 3 or 4 months. So I mean, there's games to be played, and I'll make my way around to it when I make my way around to it. There's been a couple mods I've been wanting to try out, like Minecraft. Yeah, I know, 22 and I play Minecraft, but I mean, there's just a couple mods because I'm into the whole architecture side of it. So, and then The Sims has a couple mods I want to try out. Skyrim with the Macho Man Randy Savage dragons, that's just badass. Oh yeah, that would be cool to do. But I mean, I'll get into gaming when I get into gaming. But that's enough for GTA 5, or GTA in general, I should say. So on to Spider-Man, the game. We've seen some gameplay footage, which, shows that basically it's an Arkham game, like Batman Arkham, that Arkham series. It's basically an Arkham game with Spider-Man, essentially. That's how the combat looks and feel, like it would look to me. I haven't played it. I would love to get a demo of it. But it just looks like it's an Arkham-esque game with the combat. The combat looks phenomenal, just like the Arkham series. But we also got a glimpse at the Sinister Six with the reveal of the final member of the team. Now, the first trailer we got had Electro, Rhino, Scorpion, Vulture, Mr. Negative, and Shocker. Now, with this new trailer we got, they revealed that the sixth person was Doc Ock, which is awesome because in the canon of the comic books, the original Sinister Six were Kraven the Hunter, Sandman, Vulture, Electro, Mysterio, and Doc Ock is the leader. And assuming that since Doc Ock is in the game, that he's probably going to be the leader of the Sinister Six. That's a good assumption, I would say. That would be my guess. But then I was also looking through everything. Why no Venom? Why no Green Goblin? We haven't even heard anything about him. I'm hoping they're in the game because that would just, they kind of go hand in hand. I don't know why we wouldn't have a Green Goblin or a Vulture today. God, what am I saying? I don't know why we wouldn't have a Green Goblin or a Venom today in the game, because it's two really big villains for Spider-Man. So I'm sure they'll be in there, maybe hinted to, or potentially even, shown later on down the line. Maybe they're like hidden side character fights. Maybe they're main villains in the second one. I wish I knew, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. He's probably my favorite Marvel character. And with anybody who saw Infinity War with me, Nicole or Robert from Bridging the Geekdoms, I was hyped off my ass when Iron Spider-Man made an appearance. That's my favorite iteration of Spider-Man, and he was there. It was awesome. But I'm really looking forward to the game. I know that, the game, not too many people, like a lot of people are looking forward to it, but I know Bob's not really looking forward to it or anything like that. I'll play it. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, like I said, so it'll be interesting. And San Diego Comic-Con also released a story trailer, which I was talking about, revealed Doc Ock, so I'm interested. I can't wait to play it. I think it comes out in September, maybe October. It's around holiday season, so it would probably be October. So, I'll probably watch out. I might have some gameplay up by then. I really would like to get my gameplay idea up and off the ground. I'm working on getting a soundboard and everything, so you'll get better quality than through this headset that I'm using. But I'm trying to pull out some gaming content for you guys. I'm huge into gaming, and I don't really do too much with it because I'm lazy. I'm not going to lie. This podcast was in the works for 4 months before I actually released it. So it is what it is. I've been working on doing more gaming content and doing stuff like that, maybe getting a couple people on helping me out once I get a soundboard and stuff like that. So look forward to it. But with that said, that's about all I have for Spider-Man. Now, I was reading on Reddit the other day, or was it Reddit? I think it was Reddit, that Germany has actually banned pre-orders for games that don't have release dates. Now, I think that's a genius idea. Why would people... I mean, I've done it where I've pre-ordered a game and it never came out because it never had a release date. Like, it just never came out of the purgatory that it was in. So you have to go in there manually, like, hey, I want to cancel it, and they look at you like you're an asshole. But I think it's great. Like, why isn't other countries doing that? Why can't you just, hey, if you want to make a game, you have to give us a release date, not a necessarily like, hey, this is when the game's coming out, but an ETA on it. Like, you can't just say, oh, coming fall 2019. Like, give us a date. If you give us a date, hey, we know you're working on it, and we're more likely going to buy the game more consistently from you or something like that. But I saw that, and I was like, oh, shit, Germany's not fucking around no more. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting that maybe more countries should get onto it. Like, it just makes way more sense to force companies to essentially not make money before they give a product. So, maybe that could not necessarily, like, move over from video games. Maybe that should move over, like, movies and stuff like that. People pre-order tickets way in advance. That's probably not true. I really don't know how that works. But anyway, the God of War game could have a sequel in the works due to a job listing. So that's that. Didn't get around to playing the new God of War. I'm really disappointed. I heard it's good. I've watched some gameplay of it. It looks beautiful. Just haven't got. I'm a busy person. I haven't gotten around to doing it yet. With the past 2 weeks I've taken off, No Man's Sky has finally released a DLC that will allow you to play multiplayer. I cannot begin to tell people how excited I am for this. I was one of the few people that after No Man's Sky was released, I picked it up, pre-ordered it, picked it up, played it. I loved the game. Didn't even care about the multiplayer. The game was just interesting to me. It's basically survive. You can go to different planets and survive. That's all the game is. It's wonderful. But anyway, they finally get multiplayer, and a lot of people are... I mean, it's a little late. The game's been out for, a year at least, easily. And they've abandoned ship. All 4 or 5 people that still play it can now play with each other. But it's nice to see that, hey, they realized what they did, they fucked up, and they're trying to fix what they did. It's a great move by the company. I think it's just a little late. That should have been one of the first things they addressed. Hey, no multiplayer? All right, boom, fixed it. We have servers that'll support it. That right there is what should have been done, but hey, better late than never. I mean, maybe it'll turn people onto the game. Maybe it'll be one of those ones that it's played 10 years after the game came out because it suddenly became a cult following. Like, maybe it could be something like that. So, I'm really excited for that DLC. I haven't played No Man's Sky in a while, but I loved the game when it first came out, so I'm sure the DLC won't be that big of a deal for me, but hey, if you were looking forward to it, now you have it. And Spyro the Dragon has released some gameplay footage, and that's exciting. I love the series. I played it growing up when I was like 4, had no idea what I was doing. God, I remember the hours I spent playing Year of the Dragon, and not even turning off my PlayStation because I didn't have a memory card because I was like 7. But I loved playing Year of the Dragon. I can't wait to turn it back on. I actually am getting my girlfriend it for whatever, because she's starting to get into gaming, and I just, oh, God, I want to play Ripto's Rage. I never played the first one, believe it or not, and that's pretty interesting for me, because I love Spyro, but I never had the first one. I played Ripto's Rage and Year of the Dragon a lot, and I never played anything after Year of the Dragon, because they were all shit, but it's exciting. It comes out this fall. God, cannot wait. It's going to be about the same price as the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I think it's $40. But it's nice to see that we're finally getting all these old games remade into newer games. Yeah, some people will be like, well, that's because we don't have anything new in the world. Yeah, but like sometimes you have to cash in the nostalgia every once in a while. Like Resident Evil's been doing it with the soft reboot with Resident Evil 7. Was essentially a remake of Resident Evil 1, but different place and different characters. The same principle. It's essentially the same game, but different story. They're cashing in. Resident Evil 2 is being remade. Resident Evil 3 could be remade. There's a lot of systems that are like, or not a lot of systems, a lot of games that are cashing in on the older games that everybody seemed to love the nostalgia of them. So I mean, if you're while you're at it, make a Sly Cooper remake, and I'd be all for it, hands down. Won't even fight you. But with that said, this is sad for Nintendo. This next part, that they are stooping to points to the low points of suing ROM websites for using their games, and it's really sad that like, yeah, they're giving away your games for free essentially. And I mean, it is what it is. It's the internet. People are going to find one way or another to get it. But it's really Nintendo. Like people are going to get games regardless if they want a ROM. I mean, you shut down every fan made game. Like I am a huge Pokemon fan, and I used to play fan games like all the time because that's what I did in high school instead of actually doing schoolwork. God, I played so much Pokemon Red in high school. But anyway, but like it's absolutely insane that why are you shutting down ROM sites? All they're doing is drawing attention to the game, and it's bringing new people into the series and stuff like that. Why would you stop that? But it is Nintendo. They finally are getting like a good system with the Switch. So hey, they're a little late to the party, but it is what it is. But hey, I don't see the point, Nintendo. Just calm down and don't do that anymore. So, in this podcast, I know I talk a lot about video games, but I do want to talk more about like just games in general, like board games, tabletop games, video games, arcade games, stuff like that. What I guess arcade games are video games, but I want to talk about all aspects. Now, if you know me, you know I absolutely adore playing Magic the Gathering, and I also don't mind jumping into a Dungeons and Dragons game every once in a while. So good news for me that the Wizards of the West Coast, the creator of Magic, or I guess maybe the producer, I something like that. I may have created the game. Have actually teamed up with the Dungeons and Dragons story makers. I really don't know much about the history of Dungeons and Dragons, so don't yell at me. But they are finally doing a Dungeons and Dragons Magic the Gathering crossover. Wizards of the West Coast will be releasing a crossover with... Blah, 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 blah. Wizards of the West Coast will be releasing the crossover materials called Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica on November 20th. The book will contain everything players need to generate a Dungeons and Dragons campaign on the plane of Ravnica, one of the most popular settings in Magic the Gathering history. The timing and setting aren't coincidental. Magic the Gathering itself will be returning to Ravnica in a new set that releases later this year. Now players of both games will be able to explore the plane concurrently. Ravnica is a world full of politics and intrigue, featuring 10 different guilds that vie for power and control of the plane. The guilds have been some of the most iconic stories featured in Magic the Gathering, with each guild representing a specific color combination and an identity that fans can see themselves with. Rakdos, which is personally what I used to play a lot. I moved on to Simic, but Rakdos is the red-black. Is a guild that prioritizes chaos and bloodlust. Vladimir, which is blue and black. Guild is one full of secrets, spies, and mind-bending political plots. With so many organizations to choose from, the Ravnica setting seems perfect for the flexibility in storytelling and character development that Dungeons & Dragons lovers need. The Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica will include classes, races, monsters, and setting information, so it's clear this isn't just a simple reskin of Dungeons & Dragons game. There will be a lot more content to explore for veterans of the game and Magic the Gathering players interested in testing it out alike. With sustained success in Magic the Gathering and a resurgence of popularity in Dungeons and Dragons, now seems like the perfect time to give fans, excuse me, of both games what they've been asking for years. If this experiment is successful, there could be more Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons crossovers potential created in the near future. And that's exciting as hell. I love Ravnica. It's where I didn't jump on the first block of Ravnica. I jumped on in the Return to Ravnica, but the Magic the Gathering is such a fun game that you really have to pick the mind of your opponent and know your cards. And who doesn't enjoy playing Dungeons and Dragons? If you're judging me for playing Dungeons and Dragons, give it a try. If you're into any sort of storytelling at all, you'll absolutely adore the game. The game is unbelievably fun when you're with the right people. That, hey, it is what it is. But it's something everybody should try out at least once. If you're thinking about doing it, I know if you're around us where we podcast, Game Vault, free sponsorship, does do weekly Magic tournaments. I know they play Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I don't know when they do Dungeons and Dragons. You may have to stop in, but I know they do Dungeons and Dragons. They do a ton of board games. They do a ton of tabletop games and stuff like that. So, I mean, kudos. Game Vault should probably sponsor me. That would be cool. But they are really cool guys down there. They'll help you out. They have vintage games and stuff like that. But Dungeons and Dragons, I've loved ever since I was little, but I'll have to try it out. I haven't played in a while. I'll have to get back into the game, create a character, become a bard again. So, I didn't know if Bob was going to talk about this one on the Bridging the Geekdoms one, but I'm a huge fan of the Sly Cooper series, and they're finally giving it a TV show, which is, it was originally a movie, but it's been in purgatory for years, and now they're just making it into a TV series, apparently. So, for those of you who don't know who Sly Cooper is, he's a raccoon that's a thief, essentially. It's, you play the games as a thief, and you go through, and it looks kid-like, and it kind of plays like it's kid-like, but it's a fun game. It ranks up there with Spyro, like, in the difficulty, but it's not awful. It's a pretty interesting, fun game. Towards the end there, it got a little wonky, but hey, Thieves in Time was an okay game. But hey, remake it. But they're releasing it as a TV series. It looks like it's going to have 52 11-minute episodes. So, and it looks like it's going to be a kid's cartoon. So I might check out like an episode or two and be like, is this awful? And go from there. But I just thought it was interesting that they're making it into a TV series. It's about time. I always thought that it could be a TV series exploring, like, you know, his family and stuff like that. Because if you played Thieves in Time explores a lot of his family's heritage, and it's awesome. Just absolutely awesome. Now on to the big topic. AR versus VR. What is the future of gaming, essentially? I always say it's AR or VR. I've always said it's VR, but I'm slowly being swayed with Pokemon Go and different AR type things on mobile that I think AR could be the potential future of gaming, where most people won't. I mean, most people don't have the money or the space to do AR right now. But I think in time it will become something that's very small and manageable. So I think I'm a little interested, but here's some facts I found. AR and VR are not the same, obviously. The terms virtual reality and augmented reality get thrown around a lot these days, thanks to a resurgence of VR headsets heralded by the Oculus Rift and the use of AR apps and games like Pokemon Go. They sound similar, and as the technologies develop, they bleed over into each other a little bit, which is why I always said VR. They're two very different concepts, though, with characteristics that readily distinguish them from one another. So, I did rate a big old, I think I have like 4 pages of this stuff, so you're in for a ride. What is virtual reality? I have a couple examples: the Oculus Rift, PlayStation VR, HTC Vive. There's more, but those were the first three that came to mind. VR headsets completely take over your vision and give you into the impression that you're somewhere else. The HTC Vive, the Oculus Rift, and other headsets are completely oblique, blocking out your surroundings when you wear them. If you put them on and they're turned off, you might think you're blindfolded. When the headsets turn on, however, the LCD lights or LCD panels inside are refracted by the lenses to completely fill your vision with whatever's being displayed. Could be a game, a 360-degree video, or just virtual space platform interfaces. Usually, you're taken to wherever the headset wants you to go. The outside world is replaced with a virtual one. Most tethered VR headsets, like the Rift, the Vive, the PlayStation VR, and the Windows Mixed Reality headsets, use 6 degrees of freedom motion tracking. Use 6 degrees of freedom motion tracking thanks to external sensors or cameras, or outward-facing cameras. This means headsets don't just detect the direction you're facing, but any movement you make in those directions. This combined with the 6 degrees of freedom motion controllers lets you move around in a virtual space with virtual hands. This space is usually limited to a few square meters across, but it's much more immersive than just standing still and looking in different directions. The drawbacks is that if you're not careful, you could trip over anything and, damage stuff and break stuff and all kinds of stuff. Basically, VR is you put on a headset, you load whatever the hell you want to play, and you just get into it with your. I mean, they do normally come with things you can put in your hand, but essentially you are the character in VR. But that's limited to, like I was saying, you can only move so much. You can't really do too much or without knocking shit around unless you have a big open space. So VR is actually not that bad of an option when you think about it. It is really pricey. I think the Oculus Rift is still like $600, which is a lot. I know the PlayStation VR is about $400, but that's with everything included and it's used. I think new is like $500, $550. But anyway, what is AR? Pokemon Go, HoloLens, RoboRaid, those are a couple examples. Whereas virtual reality replaces your vision, augmented reality adds to it. AR devices like the Microsoft HoloLenses and various enterprise-level smart glasses are transparent, letting you see everything in front of you as you're wearing a weak pair of sunglasses. The technology is designed for completely free movement while projecting images over whatever you look at. The concept extends to smartphones and the AR apps and games like Pokemon Go, which use your phone's camera to track your surroundings and overlay additional information on top of it on the screen. Excuse me. AR displays can offer something as simple as data overlay that shows the time to something as complicated as holograms floating in the middle of the room. Pokemon Go projects a Pokemon on your screen on top of whatever the camera is looking at. The HoloLenses and other smart glasses, like the mysterious Magic Leap 1, meanwhile let you virtually place floating app windows and 3D decorations around you. This technology has a distinct disadvantage compared to the virtual reality visual immersion. While VR completely covers and replaces your field of vision, AR apps only show up on your phone or tablet screen, or even your HoloLenses can only project images in a limited area in front of your eyes. It isn't very immersive when the hologram disappears once it moves out of the rectangle in the middle of your vision, or when you need to stare at a small screen while pretending that object on the screen is actually in front of you. Now, AR is starting to get a little better with this, but that's why I've never said AR should be the future of gaming, because maybe later on down the road, maybe 15 years, but in the immediate future, VR is the future of gaming. We have VR technology mastered way more than AR. It's getting there, but it's nowhere near on par with VR. VR is easily, in my opinion, the more superb one. I know Bob strongly disagrees with that, but I don't think that VR is going to stop anytime soon. I think once we master the AR technology, that it will slowly start to fade out, but there will always be a cult following that will prefer VR. I'm sure I'll jump to the AR team, but as of right now, I think VR with the headsets and everything are way more immersive, can hold your attention more, and honestly are all around better, have better content on them. But like I said, we don't have too much technology that can support AR right now. So no one's really experimenting with it and doing the most that they can with the technology that AR is. So I would give my edge to VR, but AR could, in about 10 years, if we continue to hammer at it and learn how to use it, I would see us using AR glasses, the HoloLenses, or HoloLens-esque technology way more in our normal day life. Computers could be phased out if we can master it in a small enough scale that, hey, we got HoloLenses, we don't need to talk, or we could put them on our watches, or, project stuff onto our arms where it's just a wristband and we could type on our arms and stuff like that. I could see that becoming a thing. But that's way later down the road. I honestly would say VR has the edge. Now, the difference between AR and VR, and I guess I could have saved my little rant there for after this, but hey, it is what it is. But the difference, virtual reality and augmented reality accomplish two very different things in two very different ways, despite the similar designs of the devices themselves. VR replaces reality, taking you somewhere else. AR adds to reality, projecting information on top of what you're already seeing. They're both powerful technologies that have yet to make their mark with consumers. Excuse me. I don't burp until I record, I swear. They're both powerful technologies that have yet to make their mark with consumers, but show a lot of promise. They can completely change how we use our computers in the future, but whether one or both will succeed is anyone's guess right now. Which basically goes back to my rant. Once we start mastering AR technology, I strongly think that AR is the future of the world. But for gaming in the next 5 years, VR has it locked down. If we somehow make a drastic leap in technology with AR, I could see AR maybe. But no one's experimenting with it too much outside of like mobile gaming. So I don't think the AR will have any sort of impact anytime soon. But with that being said, I don't have too much more, so in the comments below, I'm going to release one more episode. I'm going to break down this podcast into seasons. Right now we're in season 0. It's kind of like the beta episodes, working out the kinks and whatnot. Next episode will be the coming of the digital age, which is how we're slowly phasing out physical copies of things like CDs and video games and stuff like that. So that'll be the last episode for season 0, which is the beta episode, or beta season, essentially. Season 1, I might jump into lore. Do kind of a couple lore episodes. Might be Fallout. Fallout will probably be the first one. And then I'll do the lore of a different couple video games, see how that goes. But, the lore ones might be a little longer than a half hour. I'm trying to keep the beta ones to a half hour. But I'll probably jump in the lore. Maybe I'll do a different couple things. I am working on a couple things for the upcoming structure of the seasons and stuff like that. But let me know what you think. I know on Facebook it got a lot of views. It's not first episode didn't do half bad, so let's see how the second episode does. But in the comments below, leave some feedback. I'll take constructive and constructive. I don't really care. Tell me what you guys think of this podcast. I do a lot of post-production editing, so if you guys want to hear like just a raw, uncut version of the episode, I could do that. I do take a lot of vocal pauses, just forewarning you of that. But let me know what you think. Like, subscribe on Podbean. We are on Podbean. That's our primary one. Leave a review on iTunes. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about this podcast, Bridging the Geekdoms. Anything that we do, honestly, leave us a review on iTunes. Listen to us on iTunes at Bridging the Geekdoms. Follow us on Podbean. Come to the group on Facebook. It's Bridging the Geekdoms. Do like the page on Facebook. We do have a page. We don't really upload on the page. It's mostly just a podcast. Do find us on Instagram at Bridging the Geekdoms. Don't quote me on that. It's at something like that. You'll see the banner. Follow us on Twitter. Do check out Deej over at Nerd Talkalypse. He does have a guest on this, I think it may be this week's, I'm not sure, this week's episode of Fandom Vibe. I think his name's Josh, was at San Diego Comic-Con, so he does have a first-hand guest who was there at San Diego Comic-Con to give some in-look to that. Check us out. Yeah. Teespring, we do have merchandise on Teespring. So do please check us out there. Any support's welcomed. If you want to be a guest on any of the shows, hit us up. You can email us. You can just message us. You can just talk to me in person. I don't look like an approachable person, but you could talk to me. I'm okay. But with that said, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you like us, subscribe, follow us like I just said. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.